Hi, welcome to my channel. I thought I'd do a video on Irish boy names inspired by nature. These names are earthy, inspired by outdoors. Some of them are very common, used a lot in Ireland these days. Some of them are more rare, unique, some of them more old or traditional, but I've got a lot of names to get through. I'm also going to do a girl version, Irish girl names inspired by nature soon, so make sure you stay tuned if you don't want to miss that. If you like this kind of thing, please give this video a like, subscribe for more, and let's get started. The first name is Adare, which means Ford of the Oak. It's pronounced Adare. Adare, and is spelled A-D-A-R-E. I think most people, when they hear the name Adare, they would think of a place in Ireland. There's a place in Ireland where there's an amazing hotel called Adare Manor, and I think most people would think of that first because Adare isn't really a common name in Ireland. Personally, I don't know any Adares anyway, and but I love it. I think it's such a strong name and it's got deep roots in Ireland. In Irish, it's Aodh. Aodh means ford or open space, and Darragh means oak tree, and Darragh is the next name. Obviously, Darragh means oak tree, and it's pronounced Darragh. Darragh. Typically it's spelled D-A-R-R-A-G-H. It can also be a girl's name, and usually when it's a girl's name it's just spelled D-A-R-A, but D-A-R-A can be used for both boys and girls. This is a very common name in Ireland. I know a lot of Darraghs, both male and female. Another strong Irish name. Next up is Iobhar, which means yew tree. It is spelled I-O-B-H-A-R, and it's pronounced Iobhar. Iobhar. It can also have a fada, an accent over the I, which would change the pronunciation to Iver. Iver. It can also be pronounced Iver or Over. There's 4 different provinces in Ireland, and names are pronounced differently depending on where in Ireland you are. The Iobhar I know pronounces it Ivor, so that's the pronunciation I'm going for. The spelling can also be simplified to I-V-O-R, and this would be, Ivor would be a pretty common name in Ireland today. This name was brought to Ireland in the Middle Ages from the Norsemen, the Vikings, and when they came, they brought a name with them, and Iobhar is derived from that. I don't know the original name, but it's derived from some Viking name. Next up is Lachlan, which means from the lake or from the land of the lakes. It's pronounced Lachlan, Lachlan, and it is spelled Lachlan. And this is another one from the Vikings era in the Middle Ages. This name was used to refer to the Viking settlers because they come from the land of the lakes. But over time, the Vikings intermarried with the Irish and had babies, and the name was passed down, Lachlan. So yeah, it's pretty common in Ireland these days. Lachlan. Next up is Cashel, and it means stone fort, and it's pronounced Cashel. Cashel, and it's spelled C-A-S-H-E-L in the anglicized version, and the Irish way of spelling it is C-A-I-S-E-A-L. And a lot of people would know Cashel from the Rock of Cashel, which is a big tourist attraction in Ireland. It's said to be the spot where St. Patrick converted King Angus to Christianity, among other things. There's a lot of big historical moments that happened at the Rock of Cashel over time, so Cashel is definitely a name that has deep roots in Irish history, and it's not a very popular name in Ireland these days. I don't know any Cashels, but I love the name Cashel. I love how it sounds, Cashel. Next up is Glen, and it means from the Glen, and it's a very easy pronunciation, just Glen. It comes from the Gaelic word Glenna, meaning glen or valley, and G-L-E-N is probably the most typical way it's spelled these days. The traditional Irish way to spell it is Gleann, and it's a very popular name in Ireland these days. It's also popular with place names like Glen or Glen Row, especially where I am. I'm in County Wicklow and we have a lot of Glens around here. The place, not the people, although people as well, I know a lot of Glens. There's a lot of Glens around. Next is A, which means fire, and it's just pronounced A. There are two ways to spell it. There's A with a fada on top, an accent, ED, or Aodh. A fada ed is the more old Irish traditional way to spell it, and then Aodh is, it became the more popular spelling in around the 1200s, and it's still the more popular way to spell it these days. A well-known A is a character from The Children of Lear, which is a story, Irish mythological legend. One of the children of Lear was called A, so we all learned about him growing up in Ireland. And there are a lot of popular variants of the name A. The first one is Aidan, and is pronounced A-din or A-dun. And this is a hugely popular name in Ireland today. I know so many Aidans and I absolutely love the name. A means fire and Aidan means little fire. It's typically spelled A-I-D-A-N. Another way to spell it is E-D-A-N, and when it's spelled like that it can be either Aidan or Edan, also meaning little fire. Another similar one is Egan, which means fiery, and it's spelled E-G-A-N and is pronounced Egan. Another variant is Aodhfin, which means white fire, and it can be pronounced A-fin, Aodhfin, or Aodhfin. As I said, the pronunciations differ depending on where in Ireland you are, and Aodhfin is spelled A-O-D-H-F-I-N, and you can add an extra N at the end of the name. So those are all fiery names that come from the original A. There's actually so much more. There's so many A kind of names, but I don't have time to do them all, so I just picked my favorites. The next name is Slevin, which means mountain or mountain climber, and it's an easy pronunciation, just Slevin, and it's spelled S-L-E-V-I-N. It comes from the Irish word for mountain, which is Sliabh, S-L-I-A-B-H. Did I get that right? And it used to be a surname, O'Slevin, and over time O'Slevin became the first name Slevin. It's still more commonly known as a surname, as a last name, but I love it as a first name. I think Slevin is just, I love how it sounds, and it's just such a cool name, Slevin. Next up is Owen, which means born of the yew tree. It can also mean God is gracious, but for this video, nature names, we're going with the born of the yew tree meaning. It's pronounced O-in, Owen, and it can be spelled either E-O-G-H-A-N or E-O-I-N. And this is a hugely common, hugely popular name in Ireland today. Next up is Braddon, and it means broad hillside, and it's pronounced Braddon, and it's spelled B-R-A-D-D-O-N. This is not a common name in Ireland these days. You won't find too many Braddons around. It's more unique and rare and more kind of old-fashioned name, but I love it, Braddon. The next name is Arlo, which means space between two mountains or fortified hill. The name Arlo is said to come from a place in Ireland called Aodhfin, and anglicised is Arlo. Aodhfin is in County Tipperary, not too far from the Rock of Cashel. Next up is Rodan, which means fertile earth. It's pronounced Rodin, or Rudin. Again, depending on where in Ireland you are. A lot of these names I know, but this one I only know as a surname. Most of the names that I'm saying are both first names and surnames, but this one I only know as a surname. Next up is Ennis, which means island. It's spelled E-N-N-I-S, and it's pronounced like Dennis without the D. Ennis, Ennis. And Ennis is the anglicized word for island. The Irish word for island is Innis, which is spelled I-N-I-S. And Innis is more a girl's name and Ennis is more a boy's name. I think Ennis can be both for boys and girls though, whereas Innis is usually just used for girls. Next up is Tormaigh, which means thunder spirit. It's spelled T-O-R-M-A-I-G-H and is pronounced either Tormaigh, or Tormaigh. Tormaigh. I love the meaning of this name, Thunder Spirit. I think it is such a cool meaning for a name, so I really like this one. Tormaigh. The next name is Meallán and it means lightning. It comes from an old Irish word for lightning and it's spelled M-E-A-L-L-A N and it can be pronounced either Meallán, Meallán, or Meallán, Meallán. And it can also be spelt without the fada over the second A, so that would change the pronunciation to Meallán, Meallán, or Meallán, Meallán. I do know a melon, but she's Swedish, so it's not the same Irish name at all. But there have been 3 recorded Irish saints with this name, Meallán, so a good old Irish name with a lot of history. The next name is Adhamh, which means of the earth, and it is spelled A-D-H-A-M-H and it's pronounced Aodhf, Adhamh, or Aodhf, Adhamh, and it is the Irish for the English name Adamh. And that is my list of Irish boy names inspired by nature. As I said, I'm going to do the girl list soon, so if you don't want to miss out on Irish girl names inspired by nature, then make sure you stay tuned. If you have any requests for Irish list names or ideas for any kind of video, please let me know in the comments below. And that's it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye.